I never heard from Mary, one way or the other.
I doubt she's coming then. She's been so busy. We tried to have her over for a glass of wine. She was so crazed with, I think, the Chinese New Year.
Okay,
Why
I'd
not?
like to open the meeting, vote to open the meeting.
Who makes a motion?
I'd like to
Okay.
make a motion to open the meeting.
I'll make the motion. Open the meeting.
Second. All in
Second.
favor?
Second.
All right. The meeting is the application of Daniel and Sheila Rifkin, tax map number 103-42, 97 Westlake Road, seeking relief from the following sections of the village code. Village Code Section 100-8, where the setback requirement from Tuxedo Lake is 100 foot. The setback from Tuxedo Lake indicated on the plans is from 0 to 37 feet, 10.5 inches. Proof of compliance with the Village Code 65-2B rules and regulations applicable to Tuxedo Lake was acknowledged on December 17th, 2008. And I see Jeff, are you going to then present, Jeff?
Sure. And I think Tyler can bring some stuff up on the screen. Tyler Felino from our office.
Hello.
So that everyone has the packet of documents that.
Yes.
Okay. Waiting for these things to come up on the screen.
Can you see now?
Yes, we can.
I cannot.
I don't see
Okay.
any plan.
I've got you. First, I've got is that the original letter, what I'm seeing here?
Yeah, this is the letter.
Yeah.
John, and maybe it might actually be best for you, John, to sort of explain some of this.
Well, back in 2008, there was an opportunity for those people that had property around Tuxedo Lake to provide proof to me that a boathouse once existed on the property. So at that time, the Fursteins, who were the property owners, they had provided some pictures to me, and we reviewed them, and we considered them as proof that there was a boathouse on the property previously, and that gave them or any new owner of the property the opportunity to pursue a boathouse if they wanted to. Of course, it still has to go through the building permit application process. It still needs, obviously, a variance for building within 100 feet of the lake, and that's why we're here this evening. We also know that it requires Board of Trustee approval at some point.
Yeah. So with that in mind, the Rifkins would like to propose the idea of building a boathouse. So as you know, we've been before you and presented plans of the house that they're proposing. So this boathouse, Tyler, I think we're probably ready for that, right?
Yep. Pull it up.
Okay. So there's an existing boat slip on the property right now. And what we are proposing is to put a boathouse in that exact same spot. We would be reconstructing the slip that is there, in accordance with the design that we're showing here. So the intention is to create a building that is, small, just enough to really fit the boat, enough to get around it when you're inside it. It would have an upper deck on top of it, and it would be designed very much in accordance with other boathouses that are around the lake. And it would also fit with the architecture of the house, perfectly, sort of mimicking it. So the intention is that it is built into the hillside, into the existing grade. We would be using the stonework that's prevalent around the park, and detailing that's consistent with the house and really with Tuxedo Park. So it's kind of a simple structure, but I think it's rather elegant. And I think that's really about all we need to say about it.
The
It's awfully
question-
quiet.
the question that I have is that, the variance that you're, you have the proposed boathouse with the dimension. Okay, that picture, right? Is that then the shape of the proposed boathouse?
No,
Yeah. Well, we're kind of superimposing the boathouse, yes, on top of the existing.
Right.
Mhm.
But that is the shape, what you're doing is the shape of the new boathouse.
That is correct. And we're showing where it is on the existing property and how it fits over the existing slip.
wait, on this plan that we're looking at, that's it, the beige, gray?
Right there, there should be a cursor going over top of it.
Oh, yeah, got it.
Yeah. So there is a slip there now, presently, and that's where the Rifkins do bring their boat into. And so we're really essentially kind of keeping the slip in the same spot, and we're just kind of covering it.
May I ask if you're building exactly on the footprint or are you widening it?
Well, you can see it's probably a little bit wider because, if you think about the slip right now, you're able to walk around the boat to get into it and to tie it up. So the structure is just a little bit wider than the existing slip so that you can do those same movements, but now within the structure.
So the nature of this boathouse is that the boat, the pontoon would just be able to go into the boathouse. There'd be space around it to get off of it, tie it up. And is there anything else in that structure, or
No,
is that pretty much it?
that's pretty much it. If you go back to the plan view, it's actually not, it's not luxurious by any stretch. It's really just about 3 feet to get around the boat itself. So
Got it. So it's basically almost like a boat garage.
it's a garage. Yeah, it's really, that's it. There's not a lot of extra storage. There's really nothing else to it.
Okay.
Anyone else have any questions on it, or?
Yes,
So is there no grandfathering because there was an existing boathouse?
grandfather.
It is grandfathered.
It is
So
grandfathered.
why do the Board of Trustees have to approve it? And why, I understand the design has to get approved, but why are these other steps?
That is still code that's in your village code. It's there. I
Okay.
forget which section, but yes.
Yeah,
In fact, I think it's in 65.
55-2.
So it's grandfathered, yet it requires several steps for approval, but what basis would there be to disapprove it if it's really grandfathered? I don't understand why they'd even need to come other than it's worded that way.
Well, there was no exemption in the grandfathering language from the zoning law itself. So that's why they're here. They still need that variance from the building within 100 foot of the lake. As your attorney, I don't really see a good reason to deny it. It's not like they're making it 5 times bigger than the slip or using it for some other purpose.
And Dave, I think that's probably why they left it. So they need to get a series of approvals. So I think no one oversteps their right to rebuild.
Jake, you mean so the trustees can worry about the effect on the water of our lake?
Yes,
I mean, that's critical.
Well, there wouldn't be any effect unless there was some sort of runoff from it, right?
I don't know. It depends on what material they're making it of.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Which would be the architectural review board, and they're not putting in any bathroom facility, so it's, yeah,
No plumbing, no bathrooms, no heat.
right.
We haven't seen the plans. We don't know what they're putting in it.
Well, we do, the plans are right up on the screen.
Well, I can't see whether there are any bathrooms or,
Because there are none.
There's no bathrooms indicated on the plans. No, there's just a slip and a boat.
Hey, Tyler, could you move back to the elevations, please?
Yes.
okay, can't understand.
The second floor is open air. There's no plumbing, no fixtures, nothing of the sort.
And if I could ask the architect, are you going to have to excavate or dig out anything in front of
Yeah,
it?
yeah, there's a whole procedure that will have to be gone through, and there's many levels of approvals that will be required for working around the lake. So that's a whole nother series of things that will be required, obviously for protection of the water, environmental issues. But of course, when you're building a structure, there will be some excavation and there will be a foundation that will be in for the building. So we've kind of been through this a little bit before on another boathouse on the lake. So there's definitely a long series of protections to make sure that the water is protected.
Yep.
So Jake, should we just
Nancy,
go
that
through
that really falls on the ARB, and not us. Ours is really just
No,
basically.
I understand that, but I think we ought to make some stipulations about that it should be built as close as possible to the footprints to get our permission. And that they check with all the DEC rules, which I'm sure they will, regarding the lake. I mean, my husband has worked ad nauseum trying to keep the lake better than it is. And to have somebody come and build something on the lake is a little bit frightening as far as I'm concerned. So I really think they have to do, and the architect, I'm not sure the owners have to do due diligence to make sure everything is right. This is not a good thing as far as I'm concerned. I can't deny it, but I'm just telling you.
Well, I can say that there is, as I've said, there's a whole series with I believe it's the DEC from the state, definitely a series of procedures that have to be gone through for the protection of the lake.
Now, Jeff, would you have to build basically a coffer dam to do the construction on the footings?
Essentially, that's correct. I really can't give you all the specifics on it, but you're going in the right direction on that, and that is essentially what would be required.
Which is what the club did when the club did the boathouses. We put a coffer dam in front of the whole boathouse and basically pumped the water out behind the coffer dam to put the foundations in.
That's exactly the procedure.
Well, I think boathouses actually enhance the lake. Obviously, they have to be done properly, and this looks like it's going to be a beautiful boathouse. So I have no issue with it.
Gary,
No issue on my end.
Yeah,
I mean, by Nancy,
I worry about the environment and I worry about the lake, and I just will not approve it.
Okay.
They may be within their rights to do it. I think it's a bad idea, a terrible precedent.
well, the precedent was basically established by the by the lake law that was established in 2008.
Right.
So, I mean, the thing is that, you can't take away rights of owners, all right? And that's basically the criteria that this law was established under.
Okay, but I can still vote against it.
You have your right to vote against it.
Thank you.
Now, Elise, should we kind of go through the, in this particular instance, should we still be going through the 5 points?
Yes. I mean,
Okay,
it's an area variance, and it's important to be on the record that the board considered the five criteria.
okay, so the first is whether the granting of the said variance will produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. The adoption of village code does grandfather it in and allows it to be reconstructed, and, it really is, the legislative body has determined that it would not be an undesirable change in use. Correct?
If you're asking me, Mr. Chairman, I would interpret 65-2B in that way.
Whether the benefits sought by the applicants can be achieved by another method. I don't see how it could be achieved by another method. That the lake access has been grandfathered to them, and there really would not be another way to achieve it.
They could have a floating dock. Why do they need a boathouse?
Well, they have a right to have the boathouse.
All
And we could
right.
live in tents too. I mean,
Right. And whether the requested variance is substantial, yes, it is substantial. And whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect on the physical or environmental conditions of the district. And it comes down to the same thing, that the applicants are entitled to rebuild the boathouse, all right, by law. And whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, and, no, the prior boathouse structure was removed, not by them. Hello, Mary.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Have you been listening for long?
No, I just
No.
came on.
Okay. Since Mary just came on, Elise, how should we proceed?
Mary would establish that she has reviewed the plans, and any questions that she has about the plans or anything else should be asked and answered by the applicants and their consultants.
I thought it looked good.
Do you have any questions to ask then, Mary?
No,
No. Have you reviewed everything yourself before?
but I have looked at everything. I have looked at it, yes.
Are you aware of basically the grandfathered section of the code that allows an applicant to rebuild if they've established that a boathouse did exist prior to 1987?
Well, I had heard about it actually, but the question that I really have is, and I probably, maybe you could bring me up to date a little bit about what has been presented, since I did miss the first 20 minutes.
Well, Tyler, do you want to just quickly go what was presented then?
Yeah, we can flip back to the original letter. that we started with. So this was the letter that was from the building department about the existing boathouse on the site and just the photo documentation of that boathouse.
I'm very familiar with the property, yes.
And then we went through just the proposed building plans and elevations.
That's, yeah. Was there any discussion yet of, is there any impact that it could have? And I don't know who to ask this to, probably you, Jake. Clearly there's no question there was if the boathouse, but is there any impact that this could have in terms of number of boathouses, or is there anything we have to consider in terms of style of boathouse? I mean, have there been precedents in recent boathouses that have been built?
Well, I don't know if a recent boathouse has been built. This is the only one that I'm aware of that, except for say the club's boathouse that has been built,
Right.
in the last 20 years.
Right.
John, is there any other one that has been?
No, there's no other boathouses that have been built.
I mean,
there is a-
well, Michael Bruno submitted a set of plans to us for the rebuilding of his boathouse that we approved, but he has not built it yet.
I was going to mention that. That's different from this case, but Michael Bruno did get approval to remove a rather dilapidated boathouse further down Westlake Road, and thus far he's chosen not to rebuild. But this is the first instance where a boathouse that existed many years ago has come back before us to get rebuilt.
And John, did you ever find that list of how many other boathouses there are who were prior to 887?
No, I've asked Debbie if she knows where the file is, and she hasn't gotten back to me. This does go back to 2008.
Right. No, I can see.
Are there any special considerations, Jake, that we have to give to a boathouse, or can we apply the same, questions that we ask?
Right, we just we just went through them, actually.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I mean, to a certain degree, it's I'm not sure, quite frankly, and we discussed this earlier, why this is actually before us if basically the law is that it can be rebuilt. But I guess the way that the village code is written, it still does need to become before us. It also needs to go to the Board of Trustees, and it goes also to the Architectural Review Board.
Does it have to go to any other agency?
Well, it would, in the construction of it, it would have to, I'm assuming, Jeff, that you would have to go and get approval from the DEC on it for construction?
Correct.
I hope so.
Yes. Well, if you want, we could, Jeff, you're saying that it does definitely need to go to the DEC.
Yeah, it clearly does. Yeah, that's there. So that is a whole separate application.
Right.
And
Now, so then if we want to make a condition to this approval, we could make, that it does need to go to the DEC, if that would also make you more comfortable, Nancy.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
can
Because
I,
they have a whole procedure for construction in a lake.
Jay, can I go back?
In a
Because
reservoir,
Yes,
never mind a lake.
in a reservoir.
Jake, can I go back? Because really, if there has been a pre-existing site, things don't typically come before us. So maybe that is a difference that it is on the lake. I mean, I agree with Nancy that we should be very, very careful.
Well, hopefully the DEC will do their job, but I don't know, they're so busy.
Well, they just approved the method of construction.
And we can't get a building permit until that approval is in place, so
Right.
It's really kind of a non-starter if they don't do their job, because no building permit could be had.
And I'm assuming, as in any other construction, whether it's a house or a boathouse or anything that's going to go on in Tuxedo Park, that our building inspector is going to be overseeing and making sure all the approvals from all the boards as well as the agency are complied with. So to me, that's the total backstop to all of this. Am I not correct, John?
You're absolutely correct. And that's why this application, at least the site plan, was reviewed preliminarily by the BAR about a month ago. And that's why it's before you now. And then, after your approval, it will go to the trustees and the applicant will need to make an application to the DEC. So we are following the typical course for getting all the approvals in line.
Mr. Chairman, if I might just remind the board that this is a public hearing. So John should go on the record that it was properly noticed. And before the board takes a vote, they should close the public hearing, and then you can vote if you are so ready to do that.
One other question, and I forgot to ask it earlier, were the appropriate proof of mailings done, and did you receive them?
Yes, the neighbors within 300 feet of the subject property were noticed. We received only one, we were only short one green card, but the 7 neighbors were noticed, and we got proof of 6 of the neighbors being notified.
Were there any comments from any of the neighbors? There was just one note from Josby approving, saying he had no objections.
Yes,
Any
we
other
received
ones?
an email from Jim Josby today. He had no issues with the request.
I then would like to make a motion to close.
One more question.
Okay.
Sorry. Architect, in picture number 3 of the boathouse, is your plan for the boathouse, because I can't tell from the lines on your map how far it's going to come into the lake. But picture number 3, it doesn't look like it's coming very far into the lake, and I would hope that was the case.
I'm trying to figure out which one is picture number 3. Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, the house, the boathouse we're proposing is very similar to that. I mean, we don't really want it to be.
Pushing it into the lake.
No. I mean, and I think on our first site plan, that shows it pretty well, that really the edge of the building holds the edge of the shoreline. Because honestly, it wouldn't be very appealing aesthetically if it did project very far in. So that the site plan gives you a really clear picture.
I see. Yeah, I got it.
No, we want this to be beautiful and to be a great addition, so we're with you on that.
Okay.
Nice.
All right, then I'd like to close the public hearing.
You'll need a motion to do that.
Need a motion to close the public hearing?
So move.
Second out there?
Second.
Okay. Then I guess then we're in the position to to vote. I would like to make a motion to, well, we should have any more board discussion now that the meeting's closed, although no one else has been at the meeting. Any other discussion?
No.
Then I would like to make a motion to approve the variance for the construction of the boathouse contingent upon the setbacks that are in the submitted plan, which is I guess the 37, 10.5 inches from the edge of the lake in. And the one contingent that I would like to add to it is that the DEC approval must be obtained before proceeding with any construction. Members of the board, any other discussion or additions that you would like to see to this? All right, then I would like to take a vote.
You need a
Gary?
second, Mr. Chairman, you need a second.
I need a second.
I don't think I heard a second.
Nancy Hayes.
Okay. Nancy, since you're closest to me on the right-hand side,
I'm sorry, I just can't vote for it. It may be legal, but I just can't vote for it.
okay. Gary,
I'm in favor.
Dave,
In favor?
Mary,
I'm in favor.
I also am in favor. Okay, so it passes 4-1.
And
And
I will have the resolution to you by Friday, no later than.
okay, very good. And then I'd like to make a motion to close this meeting. And do we want,
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
I would like to ask the board to go into executive session.
that was exactly what I was going to say. All right, I'd like to close this meeting and go into an executive session to discuss a legal issue that we have. Second,
Second.
okay. All right.
Thank
Dan, Sheila, Jeff, Tyler, you're relieved of duty, okay?
Take care, everybody.
Thank you all. Good
All
night.
right.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Take care of our lake. My God. Jake, I don't understand when.
You can close the regular meeting.
I
Motion. to
make a
close.
motion to close the regular meeting.
Second.
Bye-bye.
Everyone, have a
Bye.
pleasant evening. All right,
You
good night.
too. Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.